Now, tomorrow marks the centenary of one of the great battles of the Great War in northern France, when Allied troops launched a major offensive around the town of Neuve-Chapelle. Half of the attacking force was made up of troops from the Indian Army fighting alongside the British. During the course of the war, an estimated 4 million soldiers, porters and labourers from the old British colonies served the Allied cause. Reeta Chakrabarti has been considering their legacy.
As schools in northwest England remember World War I, many children may feel it's a story that excludes their own ancestors. But the Great War was a global war, fought by soldiers from all corners of the modern Commonwealth.
From different faiths, whether it be Hindu, Muslims, Sikhs or Christians, they all fought for our today.
The first Indian troops ever to fight in Europe arrived in 1914. Most had never left home and were now suddenly in a completely foreign land. Among the nearly 5,000 Indians commemorated at the memorial in Neuve-Chapelle is the grandfather of Avtar Dillon, who died saving a British officer. His grandson has come here for the very first time.
6,500 miles away from rural India onto the fields of Flanders and France. Would have been a totally different experience for them. It would have been exciting as well as frightening for them to be here.
These fields of France and Flanders were keenly fought over, and if you know where to look, there are marks left by colonial troops where you'd least expect them. In this unremarkable shelter in the middle of the Flemish countryside is this astonishing find, an inscription in Arabic, and it says, "There is no greater God than Allah. If you believe in Allah, you'll be victorious." It's thought to have been written by North African troops fighting for the French, and it's a sign in the most unlikely of places of how different people were sucked into this war. It wasn't in Europe, but here in Africa, where the first British shot was fired. British and German colonies shared borders, and the fighting was fierce. This territory in Kenya was a key battleground. The armies here were sustained by hundreds of thousands of African porters, carrying huge loads of food and water through the bush to nourish the British troops.
They also attacked this area here twice.
The war sites here went unnoticed for years. Now local historian James Wilson is on a mission to retell their story.
Without their contribution, the war effort would have halted in this area. They were a vital component to the success of the Empire forces in British East Africa.
In the war cemeteries of Kenya, there are few African names. The majority of casualties were porters and have no known graves.
I am proud of him.
Some want their role properly commemorated. They include Park Ranger Joseph Sifweli Shayo, whose great-great-uncle was pressed into service by the British and who died during the war.
As we fought the First World War together and we won the battle, so we need some recognition from the British government.
The contribution of Britain's former empire is largely forgotten. Some of it is being rediscovered. But the forces who fought for Britain in that long and bloody war were every bit as multicultural as the country that Britain has become today. The sun set a long time ago on the British Empire, but the role of all those who served it then is only now being properly rediscovered. Reeta Chakrabarti, BBC News, Kenya.